2 years after the fall of the Velkari Empire, President Dong-hyun Lim stood before the Galactic Assembly on the neutral station of Harmony Point. Representatives from 300 alien species sat in silent fear as the human leader prepared to address them. The war was over, but its consequences were just beginning. Fellow beings of the galaxy, President Lim began, his voice calm and measured. We gather here today to discuss the new reality that we all must accept. Humanity did not seek this war. We did not want to reveal our true nature. But the Velkari Empire forced our hand when they attacked our peaceful colonies. In the audience, alien representatives shifted nervously. They had all received detailed reports about what had happened to the Velkari. An entire galactic empire had been reduced to scattered populations of broken, memoryless refugees in less than a year. The humans had demonstrated power beyond anything previously imagined. Ambassador Yun-Soo Cha, the former colony commander, who had survived the first Velkari attack, sat at President Lim's right side. Her face bore scars from the battle at Haven's Rest, but her eyes were cold and watchful. She had been chosen specifically to remind the galaxy what happened to those who threatened human settlements. The Velkari Empire no longer exists. Ambassador Yun-Soo continued the presentation. Their homeworld is now a human protectorate. Their surviving populations live under our supervision. Their former territories have been reorganized according to human strategic interests. A representative from the Corvani Federation, a peaceful species known for their diplomatic skills, raised a trembling appendage. President Lim, surely there must be some way to return to peaceful coexistence. Humanity and the galaxy have lived in harmony for decades. President Lim's expression did not change. That harmony was based on a lie. You believed we were a peaceful species interested only in trade and scientific cooperation. That belief led the Velkari to think our colonies were defenseless. Their mistake taught us that deception, while useful, is ultimately unsustainable. Dr. Haewon Park, director of the new Galactic Threat Assessment Division, activated a holographic display that showed the entire galaxy. Red dots marked human monitoring stations, intelligence networks, and rapid response fleets. There were thousands of them. From this day forward, Dr. Haewon announced, humanity will maintain active surveillance of all spacefaring civilizations. Any species that develops technology or capabilities that could threaten human interest will be subject to immediate intervention. What kind of intervention? Asked a representative from the Zelani Republic. Whatever kind is necessary, Dr. Haewon replied. Economic sanctions, political manipulation, technological sabotage, if required, complete species extinction. The words sent a wave of terror through the assembled aliens. They were hearing their own death sentences being discussed with the casual efficiency of a business meeting. Admiral Subin Kang commanded the Eternal Watch, humanity's galaxy-spanning patrol fleet. Her ships were invisible to most alien sensors, lurking at the edges of star systems throughout known space. She had been given the authority to act immediately against any perceived threat to human security. The Eternal Watch maintains a constant presence in all sectors, Admiral Subin reported to the Assembly. We monitor all communications, all troop movements, all technological developments. We know what you are doing before your own governments know what you are doing. A representative from the Threnody hive mind, a species that communicated through telepathic links, made a series of clicking sounds that the translation device rendered as, "This is tyranny. You are imposing your will on the entire galaxy through fear." President Lim nodded. Yes, that is exactly what we are doing. Fear is the most honest form of diplomacy. It eliminates misunderstandings and prevents tragic miscalculations like the one the Velkari made. Ambassador Yun-Soo activated another holographic display, showing the former Velkari homeworld. Once great cities now stood empty, their inhabitants wandering aimlessly through streets they no longer recognized. The biological weapons had done their work perfectly. The Velkari were alive, but had forgotten how to be Velkari. This world serves as a memorial, Ambassador Yun-Soo explained. Not to the dead, for the Velkari are not dead. They serve as a memorial to the consequences of aggression against humanity. Every species in the galaxy can visit this world and see what happens when you mistake human civility for human weakness. The alien representatives stared at the images in horrified silence. Some species had been spacefaring for thousands of years, had built great civilizations and achieved wonders of technology and art. But all of that meant nothing if humanity decided they were a threat. "What do you want from us?" asked the representative from the Altarian Consortium, a species known for their advanced mathematics and peaceful philosophy. "Simple compliance with the new galactic order," President Lim replied. "Continue your peaceful activities. Pursue science, art, and culture. Trade with each other and with humanity. Live your lives as you have always lived them. But remember that your continued existence depends on never again threatening human interests." Dr. Wan-Shik Yu, the biological warfare specialist, addressed the assembly next. His mild appearance and friendly demeanor made his words even more terrifying. "We have developed specific extinction protocols for every known sapient species. These protocols have been tested and verified. They are stored in secure facilities throughout human space, ready for deployment at a moment's notice." "You would commit genocide?" gasped a representative from the Etherian collective. "If necessary," Dr. Wan-Shik replied calmly. "But we prefer not to. Genocide is wasteful and inefficient. It is much better for everyone if threats are eliminated before they become serious enough to require such measures." Agent Soo-hyun-im, who had spent decades infiltrating alien societies, revealed the true scope of human intelligence operations. Every major government in the galaxy has been penetrated by human agents. Every military organization has been mapped and analyzed. Every potential weapon system has been studied and countered. There are no secrets from humanity. "How long have you been preparing for this?" asked a representative from the Vegan Trade Union. "Since we first left Earth," Agent Soo-hyun replied. "Every diplomatic contact, every trade agreement, every cultural exchange has been an intelligence-gathering operation. We have been studying you for over a century, learning your weaknesses and preparing countermeasures against every possible threat." The revelation sent shockwaves through the galactic community. Species that had considered themselves allies of humanity suddenly realized they had been under constant surveillance and analysis. Their most secret military plans had been known to human intelligence services for decades. Captain Yoon-ji Moon appeared on the main screen from her impossible ship, the Apex. The vessel existed partially outside normal spacetime, making it effectively invulnerable to any known weapon system. Her words carried the weight of ultimate authority. "The Apex and ships like it patrol the galaxy continuously," Captain Yoon-ji announced. "We are watching all of you. We can reach any star system instantly. We can destroy any target without warning. We are the sword hanging over the galaxy, waiting to fall on anyone who threatens human security." As the presentation concluded, President Lim returned to the podium. His final words would be remembered throughout the galaxy for generations to come. "The Velkari attacked our colonies because they thought we were weak farmers and scientists. They discovered too late that humanity is the apex predator of this galaxy. We tried to hide our true nature behind peaceful diplomacy and cultural exchange. That experiment has ended. From this day forward, the galaxy operates under human protection. You are free to pursue your own interests as long as those interests do not conflict with human security. You are free to develop your civilizations as long as you remember who the dominant species is. You are free to live your lives as long as you never forget that your freedom exists by our permission." President Lim paused, looking out at the terrified alien representatives. "This is not the future any of us wanted, but it is the future that the Velkari created when they chose to attack innocent human colonies. Learn from their mistake, prosper under human protection, and remember that there are worse fates than living in fear of humanity." As the assembly dissolved and the alien representatives returned to their homeworlds, a new age began. The galaxy would know peace, but it would be the peace of predator and prey, of shepherd and flock. Humanity had taken its place as the dominant species, not through conquest but through demonstration of power so overwhelming that conquest was unnecessary. In the former Velkari territories, human administrators worked with local alien populations to rebuild shattered worlds. The work was efficient and even kind, but it was also a constant reminder of human power. Every rebuilt city bore human architectural influences. Every restored ecosystem included Earth species. Every new government operated under human guidance. Dr. So-Young Kim, now Director of Human-Alien Cultural Integration, oversaw these efforts with mixed feelings. "We saved the galaxy from war," she wrote in her private journal. "But did we save it for anything worth having?" The human war machine arrived in Velkari space like a plague of demons. Fleet Admiral Bora Shin commanded over 300 vessels, each one designed for total destruction. Her fleet did not fight like any military force the galaxy had ever seen. They fought like apex predators finishing a wounded prey animal. "Admiral," Commander Jin Eo reported from the surface of Velkari Prime. "The capital city has been secured. The Velkari government is requesting terms for surrender." Bora looked at the holographic display showing the burning alien city. Her expression was cold and emotionless. "There are no terms. There is no surrender. There is only the message we send to every species in the galaxy." Commander Jin Eo was a specialist in psychological warfare. She understood fear better than most people understood love. Her special forces teams had infiltrated Velkari worlds not as soldiers, but as living nightmares designed to destroy alien minds. "What message do you want me to send?" Jinny asked. "That humanity remembers," Bora replied. "That we do not forgive. That attacking human colonies has consequences that last forever." The human assault on Velkari civilization was unlike anything in galactic history. Traditional warfare sought to defeat enemy military forces and occupy territory. Human warfare sought to erase the very concept of the enemy from existence. Dr. Won-Shik Yu had turned biological warfare into an art form. His latest creation was a virus that did not kill Velkari directly. Instead, it slowly destroyed their memory centers over several years. Infected Velkari gradually forgot their history, their culture, their technology, and eventually even their own names. "It's poetic justice," Dr. Won-Shik explained to his research team. "They tried to erase human colonies. Now we erase their entire civilization from their own minds." The virus spread through Velkari populations like wildfire. Within months, entire worlds of aliens were wandering around in confusion, unable to remember how to operate their own technology. Libraries full of knowledge became meaningless symbols. Scientists forgot the principles behind their greatest discoveries. Captain Yoonji Moon's experimental ship Apex continued its campaign of impossible destruction. The vessel seemed to exist outside normal space-time, striking at targets through dimensions that alien science could not detect or understand. "Captain," her weapons officer reported, "we've successfully eliminated the Velkari home fleet. No survivors." "How long did the battle last?" Yoonji asked. "What battle?" "According to our sensors, their ship simply ceased to exist. There was no fight. They were there, and then they were not." The Apex was equipped with weapons that violated the basic laws of physics. Matter displacement beams that could make enemy ships exist in multiple locations simultaneously until they tore themselves apart. Temporal bombs that aged enemy vessels thousands of years in seconds. Reality anchors that made it impossible for anything to exist in targeted areas of space. To the Velkari, fighting the Apex was like fighting their own nightmares. The ship appeared without warning, destroyed whatever it wanted to destroy, then vanished back into dimensions that their minds could not comprehend. Agent Soo Hyun Im coordinated the intelligence aspects of the campaign from a captured Velkari command center. Her agents had infiltrated every level of alien society, and they were now systematically destroying it from within. The Velkari religious leaders have declared humanity to be demons, sent by their ancient gods to punish them, she reported to Fleet Admiral Bora. Their military commanders are deserting. Their civilian population is fleeing to the outer systems. Good, Bora replied. Fear makes them easier to track. But the humans were not content to simply destroy the Velkari Empire. They wanted to make an example that would be remembered by every species in the galaxy for thousands of years. They wanted to create a legend that would prevent any alien race from ever again thinking of humans as easy targets. Dr. Hyun-Woo Bae had developed new psychological warfare techniques specifically for this purpose. Instead of simply defeating Velkari military forces, the humans were turning the entire war into a horror story that would be passed down through alien cultures as a warning. We're not just winning battles, Dr. Hyun-Woo explained. We're creating mythology. In 1,000 years, alien children will be told scary stories about the terrible humans who came from Earth to punish those who threatened innocent colonies. The systematic destruction of Velkari civilization continued for months. Human forces did not occupy alien worlds. They simply made them uninhabitable. Planets that had supported billions of Velkari were left as empty monuments to the consequences of aggression against humanity. But the most terrifying aspect of the human campaign was its precision. The aliens began to realize that every attack, every destruction, every act of psychological warfare was part of a carefully planned strategy that had been developed over decades. They knew we would attack them. A surviving Velkari admiral reported to the Emergency Council on their last remaining stronghold. They prepared for this war before we even knew they existed. They studied us, learned our weaknesses, and developed specific weapons designed to destroy our species. How is that possible? Another council member asked. Because they are apex predators, the admiral replied. They do not react to threats. They anticipate them. They prepare for every possible enemy, even those they have never met. The revelation sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy. Other alien species began to examine their own interactions with humanity. Trade agreements, cultural exchanges, scientific cooperation, all of it took on a sinister new meaning when viewed through the lens of human predatory behavior. Had the friendly human diplomats actually been gathering intelligence for future wars? Had the peaceful human researchers been cataloging alien weaknesses? Had every interaction with humanity been part of a long-term strategy to prepare for galactic domination? The answer, they realized with growing horror, was yes. Colonel Jinneo's special forces had completed their final mission on the Velkari homeworld. The planet's population centers were empty, not because the inhabitants were dead, but because they had all been driven insane by carefully targeted psychological operations. The Velkari are no longer capable of organized resistance, she reported. Most of them cannot remember their own names. Those who retain their sanity are too terrified to fight. We have effectively achieved species-wide psychological extinction. Fleet Admiral Bo-Ra looked at the reports from across Velkari space. In 6 months, humanity had reduced a galactic empire to scattered populations of confused, frightened refugees. The Velkari military no longer existed. Their government had collapsed. Their technology was forgotten. Their culture was extinct. Is this what victory looks like? Dr. So-Young Kim asked. She had been assigned to document the campaign for historical records, but she was beginning to question whether these records should ever be made public. This is what survival looks like, Bo-Ra replied. The Velkari attacked our colonies because they thought we were weak. Now the galaxy knows better. As the last Velkari resistance crumbled, human forces began the next phase of their operation. They were not content to simply defeat one enemy. They were establishing a new galactic order based on a simple principle. Humanity was the apex predator, and all other species existed by human permission. The message was being received throughout the galaxy. Alien governments were frantically reassessing their defense capabilities. Trade federations were discussing emergency protocols for dealing with human aggression. Some species were even considering preemptive strikes against Earth before humanity could turn its attention to them. But it was too late. The humans had revealed their true nature, and now the galaxy would never be the same. The age of peaceful coexistence was over. The age of human dominance had begun, and in the cold depths of space, the Apex continued its impossible patrol, a reminder that some nightmares were real, and they came from Earth. The message from the frontier colonies reached Earth 3 weeks after the second battle. Dr. So-Young Kim's report was played in emergency sessions across the planet. Government leaders, military commanders, and ordinary citizens watched the recordings of human colonists fighting alien invaders. General Tai Min Song sat in his office deep beneath the Swiss mountains, reading the classified reports that the public would never see. The general was old, with white hair and scars on his hands from wars fought long ago. He had spent decades preparing for this moment. Hoping it would never come, sir, his aide said quietly. The president is asking if we should attempt diplomatic contact with this Velkari empire. General Song looked up from the reports. His eyes were cold and hard. Diplomacy? They attacked our colonies without warning. They killed our people without provocation. There will be no diplomacy. The general pressed a button on his desk. Across the solar system, hidden installations began to receive activation codes that had not been used in 200 years. Military bases that officially did not exist powered up their systems. Weapons that violated every known treaty were prepared for deployment. Admiral Youngjia Lee received her orders while commanding what appeared to be a small patrol fleet near Jupiter. Her ships looked ordinary from the outside, but they were anything but ordinary. They had been disguised as cargo vessels and research stations for decades, waiting for this moment. "Admiral," her communications officer reported, "we're receiving Omega Protocol activation, all channels." Youngjia had trained for this moment her entire life, but she still felt a chill when she heard those words. Omega Protocol meant total war. It meant that humanity's survival was at stake and all restrictions were removed. "Signal the fleet," she ordered. "Drop all disguises. Activate all weapon systems. Plot course for the frontier." Around Jupiter, ordinary-looking ships began to transform. Hull plating slid away to reveal massive gun batteries. Sensor arrays unfolded like the wings of metal birds. Drive systems that had been running at minimum power suddenly blazed with energy that could be seen from millions of miles away. Dr. Junho Kang worked in a laboratory that did not officially exist, developing weapons that humanity hoped never to use. He was a small man with thick glasses, but his work could destroy entire star systems. When the activation orders came through, he felt both excitement and terror. "Project Cerberus is online," he reported to General Song. "All weapon systems are ready for deployment." "What exactly is Project Cerberus?" the general's aide asked. Dr. Kang adjusted his glasses nervously. "Adaptive warfare systems. Weapons that learn and evolve during combat. Biological agents designed to target specific alien species. Psychological warfare programs that can drive entire populations insane." The aide went pale. That's horrifying." "Yes," Dr. Kang agreed, "it is. But so is the extinction of humanity." Agent Soo-hyun Im had spent 20 years posing as a trade representative on various alien worlds. She was a small woman with a friendly smile, the kind of person that aliens trusted instinctively. They had no idea that she was one of Earth's most dangerous spies. Her network of agents across the galaxy activated simultaneously. Friendly human traders became intelligence operatives. Peaceful research missions revealed their true purpose. Every alien species that humanity had contacted was now under observation by trained killers. "Sir," Agent Im reported to General Song, "our intelligence network is fully operational. We have detailed information on 847 different alien species, including complete biological and psychological profiles. Including the Velkari, especially the Velkari. We know their weaknesses, their fears, their military capabilities, and their social structure. We also know how to destroy them completely." The general nodded grimly. "Good. Begin Phase 1. Phase 1 was psychological warfare on a scale never before attempted. Human agents began spreading carefully crafted messages throughout Velkari space. The messages were not threats or demands. They were simple statements of fact, designed to create maximum fear. "The humans you attacked were farmers and scientists," the messages said. "They were our weakest citizens, sent to the frontier because they could not compete on Earth. They defeated your best warriors using farming equipment and mining tools. Now our real military is coming. We have been preparing for this war for centuries. We know everything about you. We know how to kill you. We know how to make your species extinct." The messages were accompanied by detailed information about human military capabilities. Most of it was lies, but the lies were mixed with enough truth to be believable. The Velkari High Command began to panic as they realized how little they actually knew about humanity. Fleet Admiral Bo-Ra Shin commanded the human response fleet from her flagship, the battleship Predator. She was a tall woman with cold eyes and a reputation for ruthlessness that made even other humans nervous. Her fleet was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. "Admiral," her tactical officer reported, "long-range sensors show Velkari fleet movements throughout their territory. They're pulling back from frontier positions and consolidating around their core worlds." "Excellent," Bo-Ra said. "They're doing exactly what we predicted. Fear makes them predictable." The human fleet moved through space like a pack of wolves, striking at Velkari outposts and supply lines. But these were not traditional military attacks. The humans targeted everything that made Velkari civilization possible. Communication networks were destroyed. Trade routes were blocked. Cultural monuments were reduced to rubble. The humans were not trying to conquer Velkari territory. They were trying to erase Velkari civilization. Dr. Wan Shik-yu deployed his biological weapons with scientific precision. The agents he had created did not kill quickly or obviously. Instead, they made Velkari society collapse from within. Plagues that targeted leadership classes. Diseases that made Velkari children less intelligent. Biological agents that destroyed their ability to cooperate with each other. It's working, Dr. Yu reported. Velkari birth rates are dropping. Their social cohesion is breaking down. Their military effectiveness is declining rapidly. How long until complete collapse? General Song asked. At current rates, their civilization will be effectively extinct within 50 years. Their species will survive, but they will never again be capable of space travel or advanced technology. Captain Yoonji Moon commanded the experimental vessel Apex, a ship that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Her crew had volunteered for the most dangerous assignment in human space, testing weapons that could destroy reality itself. Captain, her science officer reported, the dimensional displacement drive is operating within acceptable parameters. The Velkari cannot track us or predict our movements. Good, Yoonji said. Target their homeworld. Show them what true terror looks like. The Apex appeared in the skies above the Velkari capital without warning. It was not a large ship, but it radiated an aura of wrongness that made every living thing on the planet feel afraid. The ship's weapons were not energy beams or missiles. They were manifestations of chaos itself, turning matter into something that should not exist. The attack lasted only minutes, but it left the Velkari homeworld fundamentally changed. The laws of physics worked differently in some areas. Time moved at different speeds. Gravity flowed in impossible directions. The planet remained habitable, but it was no longer entirely real. The message was clear. Humanity possessed powers that the Velkari could not understand or fight against. As reports of human victories poured in from across the galaxy, General Song allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. The plan was working perfectly. Humanity was revealing itself to be the ultimate predator species, capable of destroying any threat to its survival. But the war was not over. It was just beginning. The Velkari Empire was collapsing, but there were hundreds of other alien species watching the conflict. They were learning that humanity was not the peaceful, harmless species it had pretended to be. They were learning to fear the monsters from Earth, and fear, General Song knew, was the beginning of wisdom. 3 days after the first attack, the Velkari Empire returned with a much larger fleet. Admiral Kyung-ho Park watched the enemy ships approach through his telescope. There were 50 vessels this time, each one bristling with weapons. The aliens had learned from their first defeat and brought overwhelming force. They're not taking any chances this time, Captain Minsu Lee said, studying the sensor readings. That's enough firepower to destroy a planet. Kyung-ho nodded. Good. Let them bring everything they have. It will make our victory more impressive. Dr. So Young Kim stared at the Admiral in disbelief. Victory? Sir, we barely survived the first attack. How can we fight 50 ships? The same way a wolf pack fights a herd of buffalo, Kyung-ho replied. We don't fight them all at once. We pick them off one by one. Commander Daehyun Choi appeared on the communication screen. He was broadcasting from somewhere in the asteroid belt, where his ghost fleet had been hiding since the first battle. His ships looked like ordinary mining vessels, but So Young was learning that nothing was ordinary about these colonists. Admiral, my teams are in position, Daehyun reported. The aliens are flying in a tight formation just like we hoped. They're scared of being separated. Fear makes prey predictable, Kyung-ho said. Begin the hunt. So Young watched the tactical display as the human ships moved into position. There were only 12 vessels in the Ghost Fleet, tiny compared to the massive alien armada. But they moved like living creatures, sliding through space with perfect coordination. The alien fleet entered the asteroid field, searching for the human colony ships. They moved slowly, scanning every rock and crevice. Their formation was tight and defensive. They had learned to be cautious. That caution would be their downfall. The first alien ship died without warning. One moment it was there. The next it was the expanding ball of fire and debris. The other ships spun around looking for the attacker, but there was nothing to see. How did we do that? So Young whispered. Engineer Soo-Jin Park, the Admiral's sister, smiled grimly. Mining charges. We packed asteroids with explosives and waited for them to get close. When they scanned the rocks, we detonated them like giant bombs. The alien fleet began to spread out, trying to avoid the deadly asteroids. But spreading out made them vulnerable to the Ghost Fleet. Commander Daehyun's ships struck like sharks. appearing from behind chunks of rock to fire their weapons, then disappearing again before the aliens could respond. "It's not fair," one of the colonists said, watching the battle. "We're hiding and using tricks. They're fighting honorably." Dr. Hyunwoo Bae, who had been quiet until now, looked up from his psychological analysis equipment. "Honor is a luxury for species that don't face extinction. We fight to survive, not to impress anyone." Hyunwoo was a specialist in alien psychology. He had been studying the Velkari communications since the first attack. "They're getting frustrated," he reported. "Their military doctrine doesn't account for enemies who refuse to fight fair. They expect us to meet them in open battle. Will we?" So Young asked. "Eventually," Kyung-ho said. "But first we teach them to fear the darkness." The psychological warfare began immediately. Hyunwoo had prepared special broadcasts that would be transmitted on Velkari communication frequencies. The messages were designed to exploit alien fears and superstitions. "Velkari warriors," the translated message began. "You came to hunt helpless humans, but you are not the hunters here. You are the prey. Look around you. Count your ships. How many have you lost? How many of us have you killed? You are being hunted by creatures you do not understand, in an environment you cannot control. Your ancestors evolved on peaceful worlds under gentle suns. Our ancestors survived in caves fighting monsters in the dark. We are the monsters your species fears in nightmares." The alien formation began to break apart. Ships started moving erratically, firing at shadows in empty space. The Ghost Fleet continued its hit-and-run attacks, never staying in one place long enough to be targeted. Jiwoo Nam piloted one of the attack craft, her small ship darting between asteroids like a fish swimming through coral. She was young, but she flew like she had been born in space. Her ship was technically a cargo hauler, but it had been modified with hidden weapon systems and armor plating. "This is Eagle 7, she radioed. "I've got 3 bogies on my tail," leading them into the maze. The maze was an area of the asteroid field where the humans had carefully positioned chunks of rock to create narrow passages and blind turns. Jiwoo led the pursuing aliens into the maze, then suddenly braked and spun her ship around. The aliens, flying too fast to stop, crashed into the asteroids. "Eagle 7 to base," Jiwoo reported. 3 more down. These guys really need to learn how to fly." But the aliens were learning, slowly and painfully. They began using different tactics, sending smaller groups to scout ahead while the main fleet stayed in defensive positions. They started using their own psychological warfare, broadcasting messages about human weakness and alien superiority. Dr. Hyunwoo Bae laughed when he heard the alien propaganda. "They're trying to scare us by telling us how advanced their civilization is. How many planets they control. How powerful their weapons are. Is it working?" So Young asked. "On the contrary," Hyunwoo replied. "They've just told us exactly how much we can gain by defeating them." The battle continued for hours. The alien fleet, which had started with 50 ships, was down to 37. The humans had lost only 2 vessels, both evacuated before they were destroyed. But more importantly, the aliens were beginning to panic. Their communications were becoming frantic. Their movements were less coordinated. They were starting to make mistakes. Commander Dae-hyun saw the opportunity and took it. "All ships, this is Ghost Leader. Execute Wolfpack Alpha." The remaining human vessels converged on the alien fleet from multiple directions, no longer hiding behind asteroids. They moved in perfect formation, each ship covering the others, each attack coordinated for maximum effect. The aliens tried to respond, but their formation was already broken. Ships collided with each other, trying to avoid human attacks. Their weapons fired wildly, sometimes hitting their own vessels. In 15 minutes, it was over. The surviving alien ships were fleeing toward the edge of the system, damaged and demoralized. The humans let them go. "Why didn't we destroy them all?" So Young asked. Admiral Kyung-ho Park was already planning the next phase of the war. "Because we want them to carry a message back to their empire. We want them to tell their leaders what happened here." "What message?" "That humanity is not prey," Kyung-ho said. "We are the apex predators of this galaxy, and now that they have awakened us, they will learn what that means." So Young looked at the tactical display, which showed the retreating alien ships. They were limping home, broken and afraid. She realized that the colonists had done more than win a battle. They had sent a declaration of war to an entire galactic empire. The humans had revealed their true nature, and the aliens would never forget it. The morning sun cast long shadows across the golden wheat fields of Haven's Rest when the first alien ships appeared in the sky. Dr. So-Young Kim was checking her research samples when the ground began to shake. She looked up from her microscope and saw dark shapes blocking out the light. The ships were massive. Each one was the size of a city block, with smooth black hulls that seemed to absorb the sunlight. They moved slowly across the sky like giant predators searching for prey. So-Young had never seen anything like them before. "All colonists, this is an emergency broadcast," the voice crackled through her radio. "Unknown ships have entered our space. Please remain calm and stay indoors." So-Young was not calm. She was a scientist who studied alien life, but she had never expected to meet aliens like this. She grabbed her emergency kit and ran toward the colony center. Other people were running too. Some looked scared, others looked angry. The colony center was chaos. Admiral Kyung-Ho Park stood in the middle of the room, barking orders into his communicator. He was an older man with gray hair and steady eyes. So-Young knew him well. Everyone respected the admiral. "Sir, what's happening?" So-Young asked. Kyung-Ho looked at her with a grim expression. "We're under attack. The ships belong to something called the Velkari Empire. They want us to surrender our colony." "Surrender?" So-Young felt her heart racing. "But we're just farmers and scientists. We don't have any weapons." Kyung-Ho smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "That's what they think too." Above them, the alien ships began to descend. Bright lights flashed from their hulls and energy beams struck the ground. Buildings exploded. The wheat fields caught fire. The aliens were not interested in talking. Captain Min-Soo Lee burst into the room. His clothes were torn and there was dirt on his face. "Admiral, they've hit the main settlement." "We have casualties." "How many?" Kyung-Ho asked. 12 dead, 30 wounded, Min-Soo replied. "But sir, the colonists are fighting back." So-Young was confused. "Fighting back with what?" "We don't have military equipment." Min-Soo grinned. "You'd be surprised what farmers can do when they're angry." Through the windows, So-Young could see colonists moving across the burning fields. They were not running away. They were running toward the alien ships. Some carried hunting rifles. Others had tools and equipment she did not recognize. A young woman ran into the room. It was Ji-Woo-Nam, the admiral's daughter. She was a pilot who flew cargo ships between the colonies. Her face was dirty, but her eyes were bright with excitement. "Dad, the mining crews are ready," she said. "They've loaded their ships with explosives." "Mining crews?" So-Young asked. "What are they doing?" "Fighting," Kyung-Ho said simply. "Our people may look like peaceful colonists, but many of them came here for a reason. They wanted to be free. They wanted to live without rules and restrictions. That means they know how to take care of themselves." The ground shook again as another explosion rocked the colony. But this time the explosion came from above. One of the alien ships was on fire, falling toward the ground like a burning star. "How did we do that?" So-Young whispered. Min-Soo was listening to his radio. "The farmers used their crop-dusting aircraft. They flew right into the alien ships and detonated fuel bombs. The aliens didn't expect kamikaze attacks from agricultural planes." So-Young felt sick. "They killed themselves." "They chose to fight," Kyung-Ho said. "These people didn't come to the frontier to hide. They came here because Earth had become too safe, too controlled. They wanted to live dangerously. Now they have their chance." More explosions lit up the sky. The colonists had turned their entire settlement into a weapon. Grain silos became missile launchers. Tractors became armored vehicles. Even the children were helping, running messages and supplies to the fighters. The alien ships tried to retreat, but the colonists followed them. Mining ships that had been hidden in asteroid fields suddenly appeared, attacking the aliens from behind. Transport vessels that looked harmless revealed hidden weapon systems. So-Young watched in amazement as her peaceful colony transformed into a war zone. But the humans were not losing. They were winning. A message crackled over the radio in an alien language. Then a translation device spoke in broken English. "Humans of Haven's Rest. You fight well, but you are few. We are many. Surrender now and we will be merciful." Kyung-Ho picked up the radio transmitter. His voice was calm and cold. "This is Admiral Kyung-Ho Park of the human colony Haven's Rest. You attacked our home. You killed our people. You made a mistake." "What mistake?" the alien voice asked. "You thought we were harmless farmers," Kyung-Ho said. "You were wrong. We are humans. We survived ice ages and nuclear wars. We conquered every environment on our home planet. We came to the stars not because we had to, but because we wanted to. And now you have given us a reason to show you what we really are. The alien ships began to pull back, but the colonists did not let them escape easily. Small fighter craft that had been disguised as cargo shuttles swarmed around the retreating vessels, striking at their engines and weapon systems. So Young realized something terrible and wonderful. The colony had never been defenseless. The admiral, the security chief, the pilots, even many of the farmers, they were all former military personnel. They had come to the frontier not to escape from war, but to prepare for it. As the last alien ship limped away from Haven's Rest, Kyung-ho turned to address the surviving colonists. "This is not over," he said. "They will come back with more ships. But they have learned something today. They have learned that humans do not make easy prey." Jiwoo was monitoring the long-range sensors. "Dad, I'm picking up movement from the direction of New Busan and Terra Nova. Our sister colonies are fighting too." "And winning?" Kyung-ho asked. "From what I can tell, yes. The aliens hit all 3 colonies at the same time, but all 3 colonies were ready for them." So Young finally understood. The human colonies had not been randomly placed. They had been strategically positioned. The colonists had not been randomly selected. They had been carefully chosen. Earth had sent its warriors to the frontier, disguised as peaceful settlers. The aliens had attacked what they thought were defenseless farming communities. Instead, they had awakened sleeping dragons. As the alien ships disappeared into the darkness of space, So Young knew that this was only the beginning. The humans had revealed their true nature, and there would be consequences. The galaxy would never be the same.